You're standing alone in the middle of an empty forest, surrounded by towering trees, their branches unmoving in the still air. You scream their name out into the vast silence, hoping, wishing for a response. But all you hear is the echo of your own voice. That voice, now full of desperation and heartbreak, fades into the emptiness. There's nothing but silence. This isn't just a metaphor for feeling ignored or rejected. It's the silence we often experience in relationships, whether it's with someone who once meant the world to us or with someone who we're desperately trying to connect with. And here's the truth. Silence can be one of the most powerful tools you have, but only if you understand its true purpose. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology of silence and how it can be used to reclaim your power, restore your self-worth, and break free from toxic dynamics. Let's explore why silence isn't a form of weakness. It's a weapon when wielded with wisdom and strength. 1. Silence is not a game. It's a tool for personal growth. When you stop reaching out, when you choose silence over chasing, it isn't a sign of defeat or surrender. It's a sign that you're no longer willing to pour your energy into someone who doesn't appreciate it. Too often, people think that silence is a tactic to get someone to chase after them. It's not. Silence isn't about manipulation. It's about you. It's about breaking free from a cycle of seeking validation from someone who has repeatedly shown you that they don't value it. The power of silence comes from within. It's a declaration that you refuse to let someone else's behavior dictate how you feel about yourself. When you remain silent, you stop playing by their rules. You're no longer their emotional puppet, waiting for their approval or affection. You take the power back. 2. Silence forces reflection. Here's the truth. People who take you for granted, who ignore you, or who act as if your presence in their life is just an afterthought, they need to feel your absence. Silence forces them to confront the consequences of their actions. When you're always there, always available, always feeding their ego, they don't feel the need to reflect on their behavior. But when you go silent, you create a void. That void makes them realize just how much they took you for granted. The absence of your energy, your love, your effort, it's the space where they start questioning what they lost. This moment of reflection is powerful. It's when they start feeling the emptiness you once filled and may begin to recognize their mistakes. But don't mistake this for the idea that their realization will automatically bring them back. The most important part of this process is that you don't need them to come back for you to move forward. Silence is your healing process, not a tactic to manipulate their emotions. 3. Rebuild yourself in silence. One of the hardest things to accept when we decide to go silent is the fear that the other person will forget us or move on without a second thought. This is a real fear, but let's break it down. If someone can so easily forget you, then it's time to ask yourself, do they really deserve to be in my life? Silence is not about waiting for them to miss you. It's about you rediscovering your own worth and rebuilding your life. In silence, you have the opportunity to pour all the energy and love you once gave to them into yourself. You can focus on your personal growth, your career, your passions, your friendships, and your own mental and emotional well-being. Silence allows you the space to focus on becoming the best version of yourself, someone who doesn't need the approval of another person to feel whole. 4. Silence breaks the cycle of emotional dependency. One of the biggest dangers in any relationship is emotional dependency, when you rely so heavily on another person's attention, affection, or validation to feel good about yourself. This cycle is toxic and damaging. The more you chase after someone, the more they pull away. And when you keep engaging in this push-pull dynamic, it leads to emotional exhaustion. By going silent, you break this cycle. You stop feeding into their emotional games, whether it's the hot and cold behavior, the constant need for reassurance, or the emotional manipulation. Silence is a statement that you refuse to be part of a game where only one person holds the power. 5. Silence isn't about making them regret losing you. Now let's address a key misconception. Silence is not about making someone regret walking away from you. It's not about trying to manipulate them into coming back because you think they will regret their actions. The truth is, if they truly value you, they wouldn't have left in the first place. Silence is about you finding your peace. It's about letting go of the emotional burden of trying to prove your worth. It's about accepting that if someone walks away, it's not a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of their inability to see your worth. The ultimate freedom comes from being able to stand strong in who you are, regardless of whether or not they ever come back. 6. Silence makes you the master of your own life. The goal is not to manipulate or control the other person. It's to take control of your own life. Silence shifts the focus away from their actions and behaviors and places it squarely on your own growth and healing. When you go silent, you stop waiting for their approval, and you stop being dictated by their behavior. You are no longer at their mercy. You have the power to create your own path, to build a life that doesn't depend on anyone else to validate your worth. This is the ultimate freedom. You stop being emotionally shackled to someone who doesn't appreciate you, and you start building a life that fulfills you on your own terms. 7. Silence reveals true intentions. If someone returns to you after your silence, it's important to evaluate their reasons. Are they coming back because they truly respect you and want to grow together? Or are they coming back because they miss the validation you once gave them? Understanding the difference is key. If someone truly values you, their return will be marked by actions that show they've changed, that they understand what they lost, and that they want to contribute to your happiness, not just take from it. If their return is about reigniting the same old cycle of emotional manipulation, then your silence has done its job. It has shown you that they're not the right person for you. 8. Silence helps you heal. Finally, silence gives you the space to heal. You've invested time, energy, and emotions into someone, and sometimes the best way to heal from that is to step back and give yourself the space to rediscover who you are without them. Healing is not a linear process, but silence allows you to step out of the emotional noise and focus on rebuilding yourself. In this space, you can reflect on what you've learned, on what you will never tolerate again, and on how to protect your heart moving forward. You can find your inner peace and begin living a life that doesn't revolve around someone else's approval. Now we are about to end the video. Now it is time to change your life. Write down a comment and say that you want to change your life, no matter how difficult it is to change. I will read each of your comment and feature one of the best comment in our channel.